thinking about free will and about choices. Been watching a couple of videos about free will recently, and yeah, the idea of the choice just seems like a really simple way into it. Because whatever free will is, and I know it's applied to a whole range of scales of operation of human consciousness. It's to me the simple binary choice, you know, the choice of taking one course of action or another course of action, as I say, seems like the most reduced form of free will. So I'm thinking about choices, and just from kind of on a personal note, really. So my life certainly seemed to me to become a lot easier and a lot more manageable when I realised that most choices are either obvious or irrelevant. You know, the exercising of free will and the kind of worrying and stress that possessing free will seems to bring with it in its wake. A lot of that goes away when you realise that choices are either obvious or irrelevant. And what I mean by that is that I'll see if I can think of an example in a sec. What I mean by that is that when you have to choose, let's say you're choosing between two things or two courses of action, either those two things are very, very different with very different values and profitabilities and efficiencies and all those kinds of things attached to them, in which case, you know, one of them is obviously preferable to the other. There's no involvement at all in that, or else they are incredibly close together. You know, in which case the value of one is very similar to the value of the other. In which case it doesn't matter which one you choose. They're both of equal value, and all the weighing up that you do to see if they're of value, the more weighing up it requires, the more testing it requires to see if they are of equal value. The fact that you're spending time weighing these things up is a demonstration of how similar in value they are, and a demonstration of how irrelevant the difference between those options is. So I'll give this is a really crass example I've just been thinking of while I've been talking, is buying stuff. I mean, shopping for clothes. I hate buying clothes, you know, I don't like the whole process, but I do occasionally have to do that. And if I'm buying something like a shirt, if I need to buy a new shirt for work, it's so easy, really. You know, I'll walk into a shop. Let's say I walk into George by Asda. I'll walk into the shop, and there's a whole rack of shirts, you know, or rows of shirts actually. And I suppose in theory I could choose any one of these shirts, and I could apply all kinds of criteria, and I can exercise my free will as broadly as possible. That's not really what happens. I walk past all the rows of shirts that have got writing on for a start, because I never buy clothes with writing on. It just seems insane to be a walking billboard for some product. So all those shirts that have got Mackenzie written on or whatever, they barely figure within the choice mechanism at all. The choice between these shirts with writing or these plain shirts at the end of the row is obvious. So it doesn't figure. As I get towards the end of the row where the shirts are plain, and to be honest I almost always buy plain white shirts, but as I get towards the end of that, the decision, I can kind of feel myself slowing down a wee bit, because I'm kind of honing in on the shirts that are in my size, obviously. But once I get to the bit where the white shirts are, and I can see the ones that are in my size, you know, what would be the point of standing in front of a row of shirts, all of which are the same colour, some of which, yeah, they've got slightly different features. You know, some of them have got button-down collars, some of them have got pockets and what have you. Sorry, my phone's going off, I'll just ignore it. What would be the point of hovering around that decision when they're all almost exactly the same? So of course I don't. I just, well, to be honest, what I do is as I get in towards the row, whichever arm is swinging with momentum, that's the arm I take forward and let carry the shirt. So I'm just trying to make it a smooth action, and let the smooth action make the choice for me, really. Which I guess sounds a bit nuts, but that's kind of how I do it. Because what would the point of doing anything else? So yeah, so my life has just got a lot simpler because of that. I suppose, yeah, that's like I do with free will. So yeah, that's my conscious rejection of free will. I'm just not interested in it. It just seems a stupid thing to do. But I would say that occasionally I don't do that, Occasionally I just find myself buying something perversely. I don't know why, you know, I'll come on with a red shirt or something, or one with a picture on it. But I don't think it's the exercising of free will exactly. I don't think I've been kind of swayed, or maybe I have, but it doesn't feel that way. It feels like there's some noise has got into the system. You know, some strange, some randomness has entered the system, which has caused me to do something which is not following the momentum of the swing of my arms, or which has perverted the this decision process between the obvious and the irrelevant. And that noise, that static in the system, that randomness, has caused me to buy something else. And sure, I can usually justify it after the fact. I can usually make up a narrative about why I bought this red shirt, or why I got this t-shirt with a picture on it. But I'm pretty sure that's after the fact confabulation rather than the actual exercising of free will. And I hope that makes some kind of sense.